Hi, welcome to Romance Writers Therapy. We're kicking off the new year with some planning for the rest of our year.
For the rest of the year.
Ooh, I love the echo in here.
Thank you. The acoustics here are fantastic.
Oh, wow. Marty, what are you doing with your microphone?
Whispering ever so gently in its ear.
It's got a real ASMR quality, and I love that.
You can't hear it in your ear, but I'm like tapping my fingernails together and stuff.
I hope it shows up on the recording.
It might not, because I kind of talked over it because I got excited.
Oh, okay.
I get all like
you gotta do.
You had to say something.
What Dolly Parton does, where she just kind of rubs her nails together, like.
That's exactly what I did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I can't remember who she was. I want to say it was Patti LaBelle, but I might be wrong. And they just started like playing the nails and singing a song together, and it was like the best thing I'd ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Isn't it so cute? Gosh. But yeah, so I'm Marty V, and that's Kate Pryor.
Oh, thank you for remembering.
You're welcome. I only remembered because I put up Cringemas today, and I was like, it takes like 40 minutes before either of us like say who we are.
I know, because we did the opening different than we usually do. I didn't cut off the nonsense at the beginning.
No.
Because I was like, oh, it's cute. I'll keep it.
Which I did think it was really cute. I also really liked how it ended with just like, embrace your cringe tattooed on your forehead. Like,
yeah.
We should definitely make a sticker that says that.
Yes, I love it. So this episode was primarily your idea, so I'm gonna rely on you to kind of lead me through what plan, because this is also something that, like, whenever you tell me about your writing plans and goals for the year, I just kind of listen in wonder, because I'm like, wow, I don't think that far ahead, and I wish I could.
Well, part of it is that, like, planning excites me, right?
Ooh, okay.
Planning really excites me, but I have absolutely no strictness on follow through, right?
Okay.
So,
all right, interesting.
Yeah, I know. I'm interesting sort. So like having a plan really excites me, but I have noticed I need really to like tighten my plan. I need to have like a 3-month plan. Does that make sense?
3 months, okay.
So, like, I can have a 12-month plan, but I really have to, like, know what's happening in the next 3 months, because the last 9 months are just going to fall out of my vision. Does that make sense? So, at the end of that 3 months, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do for the next 12 months, but really knowing what I'm going to do for the next 3 months. And this is like my rotating cycle. Does it make sense?
I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah.
3 months is very manageable.
Very manageable. And then also, like, by planning for the 12-month, I'm going for an overarching goal. Right? It's almost like 12 months is the series and 3 months is the actual book. Does that make sense? Or am I not making any sense? Okay.
Yeah, no. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. So I'm going towards the overarching goal, but I'm leaving a lot of room for flexibility for that overarching goal to change. And so I always feel kind of bad when I tell people like my 12-month plan, and then like, 12 months later, I haven't achieved it, but I've achieved all these other things, because like my goal shifted as I was getting through the 3 months. So it's kind of bananas.
Yeah, because like at some point you have to stop partway through the 3 months and evaluate how far you've gotten.
Yeah, well, and a lot of times it's all like everything else, I just kind of keep it locked in my mind.
You're not writing this down.
I rarely write anything down.
So okay, because I opened up like a new Word document. All right, I'm ready to plan with you.
I have a pen and paper, or a pencil and paper, because that was what was handy. And I have my calculator out so we can like do our planning and like legit like make a plan, but also know that, 12 months from now, the goals I set might have completely shifted. Like the ultimate goal of writing and publishing more books is the direction we're heading, right? But
yeah, as long as it ends up more, you're accomplishing some things.
Exactly. So there are a couple things that I am like committed to. I have like the deadlines that I'm committed to, right?
Okay.
So I have a small town anthology that's due in September. So the things that like you have a deadline for, like I would suggest jotting those down, right?
Okay, yeah. I also have an anthology that's like summertime, I think. I have no idea what the actual date on it is.
Hexes and O's?
Yes.
I think that's September, but I could be wrong.
Well, like, I think the due date is sometime in the summer.
Okay.
And then they're like gonna do the whole editing thing and like, you know, anyone who hasn't gotten it in by then. I'm doing it with Rebecca Conrad, so I'm very excited because she's talked to us about the new romance cafe that she's done anthologies with. So jotting down when your like hard and fast dates are,
or at least like these are things I have to be prepared for, right? I have a newsletter swap in April, and that's just like somewhere around 10K. Okay. I have the small town anthology that's due in September. And that's 15 to 30K. And then a second chance romance due in December. And that I've already told her, like, I think it's going to be somewhere around like 60,000 words, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm actually like connecting the stories from small town to the second chance anthology, right? So like those alone are putting me somewhere around like 60, 75, 85,000 words.
For the whole year?
No, that's just for the 3 things I'm committed to.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then I would like to write the sequel to Just Fake Married.
That'll be interesting. Do you know who's gonna be in the sequel?
Yeah, that one's gonna be Lori and Sam. Ooh. I know. I'm excited for them. I'm really excited for them. It's a trope that's spicier to me.
What's the trope?
The trope is teach me.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah, no, that is a spicy
trope.
Yeah,
I love it. So like
I feel like it's got so much built into it, like inherently. Like there's so much opportunity for sexiness.
I'm so looking forward to it. And you know I have forbidden myself from writing only one bed for like the next 3 books. So I'm like, I have to make sure I don't do that, but man, I really want to. And so that's probably gonna be about 50,000 words. So 85 plus.
So are you like mapping out you've got the year broken up into like 4 quarters essentially.
Yeah.
Are you like mapping out how many words each quarter is already demanding of you?
Kind of. Because like right now I've committed myself a bit more than I should have. I know. And then I have Never Has She Ever, and I just need to finish that one. So that one is going to be about like 20K that I have to finish writing up. So I'm at like 160,000 words that I'm committed to for next year.
Right.
So if I were to divide that into the 4 quarters, that would have been a lot easier math if I had just like done the math. So that's like 40,000 words a quarter.
Okay, and then that's like 10,000 words a month.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Okay.
Divided by, because there's 3 months in a quarter, right? So
you're right. I'm done.
That's okay.
I'm like, and then 4 months per quarter, 16 months in a year.
We're doing great, friend.
We're doing so fantastic.
So that's like
I'm only a little bit off.
Yeah. That's like 13,333 words a quarter.
Okay.
Right?
That's very manageable. Yeah.
So then I would take 13,000. Divide that by what, like 100 days in a quarter that I'm actually working? That sounds about right. Right?
Okay, so how are you kind of mentally, like, did you do this mentally last year where you have a word count every day to hit?
No. Last year I went in a lot more blind. And so this year I'm trying to be more mindful. Also, we're keeping in mind that I'm overspent on words for sure, 100% based on, because what I like to do is somewhere around 3,000 words a month or a week, right? Because then that's only Monday through Friday for me. Like, that's a manageable word count. 52 weeks in a year, that's 156, right? So I'm overspent on words for the month or for the year. Because we also have to keep in mind that editing has to happen at that time too.
Yeah, that was my next question.
Like, so like ideally, what I'd actually be writing is 160,000 divided by 2. 80,000 words would be a more ideal like goal, because that would give plenty of time for writing and editing, right? I could just do the 3 things I'm actually committed to, which is 85,000 words.
That is still a bunch.
Yeah. The newsletter swap, though, like, I mean, I'm just going to kind of have fun with it, right? And it's going to be like the prequel to The Small Town.
Okay.
And then the Second Chance Romance is going to be like the second book in the series. So the world will have been built in that first small town romance. Also, this is setting up the town that my bed and breakfast series is going to be in.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And so you've already written a bit of the first book.
Exactly. And I know some of the places and some of the people I'm bringing in and like stuff like that. So I'll already have a pretty decent like handle on the world. But yeah, so when I say I'm like planning for next year, like we're planning, but we're doing our best, right? So what I will probably do is finish Never Has She Ever, because I just need to get it done. Like, I need to publish that story, right? And then I'll do the newsletter swap, and then I'll do The Small Town. And I'd really like to do the sequel to Just Fake Married before doing the Second Chance Romance. So if I have to pull out of that anthology, I will, because that's the one that's like really pushing me at the edge.
Yeah.
So
if you didn't, no, you go.
My goal is to have Never Has She Ever finished by January, like the draft finished by January, like the end of January.
Okay, you don't have a lot of time for that then.
Well, the end of January.
Oh, end of January. Okay.
So
yeah, okay,
yeah. So I mean, I should be fine. Like, I should be fine.
How far?
I have like 10,000 words in that story right now.
Okay.
And I mean, I only want it to be somewhere between 30 and 35. Is all this like computing to you?
It is. I'm kind of wondering, because the other obligations do add a lot more structure to the year, things you have to work around. I'm kind of thinking like, I'm just thinking about what I did last year, which was very haphazard, but at the same time, I had like a smidgen of a plan. I think because I had put Lich out a year prior to that, and I knew I wanted to release the sequel on Halloween, or not, in October for Halloween. Yeah. And I didn't have a plan for anything else, but I kind of realized, I guess, when I was taking a little bit of a break from my other projects, that, hey, I have this thing that has 14,000 words, something like that already in it, and I could just get this done and tossed out. Yeah. Which is something that its own kind of beast, to like pick up something that you abandoned, but like it's also there. Yeah. Because I've been I also really wanted to get Banded Together edited this year in 2023. And I don't know, man. Because like I'm cool with the things I've committed to. Like, I really see the value in anthologies, particularly anthologies that like, everyone's committed to marketing it, right? Well, and I guess it's really hard to figure out how much time that takes up. Marketing? That's harder to, yeah. Well, I think the whole, it just really depends on like what sort of marketing you're doing too, right? Like, definitely. Like I have my newsletter I do twice a month. So in total, that's probably an hour and a half worth of work. Okay. And then I have my Instagram that I'm most active on. I might do something on TikTok,
you know, a couple times a year sort of thing. And that's really all I do. And then also like promotions. Like I have Truth or Dare going free December 22nd for like a week. And then Just Fake Married is going 99 cents on December 26th. And like, other than that, like at this point, that's the marketing I'm doing. Does that make sense?
Mm. Yeah, no, totally.
Mm-hmm. So it's like manageable amounts of marketing for me. Like I've really come to like terms with like, I am not a content creator, right? Like I write. That's where I want to spend my time. And so, yes, it's important that I push my work. And I guess this is marketing too, but it doesn't feel like it. Because I just feel like I just chat with you.
I mean, it's a nice part of marketing.
It is. But like...
Marketing buddy.
I know. So like, I'm just very conscious of like where I'm putting my time. And like, yeah, I could put more time into TikTok. I could put more time into Instagram. But ultimately, like, I feel my time would be better served to write the next book in the series. Right? To write the next book and put that out. Because I enjoy it more. And ultimately, that's the job I want to have, is the actual writing.
Sorry, my parents are throwing things around.
Okay.
No, it just sounds like they're picking things out of the closet and dropping them. Oh, who knows what that's about? Brain thought, come back.
Come back to me.
It's gone. She gone. Oh, I was going to ask, how do you feel about letting your, kind of in your calendar, the writing periods and marketing periods and editing periods kind of overlap? Because I think we've talked a bit about that there's really a kind of mindset shift when you move from one thing to the other. And like, I know we mostly talk about it in terms of writing to editing to writing from scratch again. But I want to include marketing in there because I think the whole marketing process just does take up so much brain power.
Well, I also think that you are better at thinking about marketing than I am. I think that's one of the reasons why I feel my marketing isn't super effective, is because I don't give it the brain power it really does need. Right? But if I put my brain power into marketing, I would have no more brain for writing. Right? So that's kind of like,
I mean, that's
the terms
definitely
I've come
how
to.
I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, like
during like
release weeks and release, because like I really tried to push release like 3 weeks, right?
Yeah. And like, no, see, I feel like I have like my whole month pre a release, you know, is kind of taken up in a way. Like I tell myself, oh, the book's done, and so I can just relax. And then it's like, oh no, you have to be emailing people constantly.
Yeah,
you have to be messaging people and making graphics all the time. And I'm like, oh my God.
I think I'm going to rely more on some other forms of marketing. Because even like, I've never paid for any book reviews, right? I've always just like went hunting for them. So I have a nice list of ARC reviewers now because they've done it a couple times for me. And I feel like I have people I can ask, right? But I'm also going to do like Book Sprout. And like, I think it's like for a month you can do 20 reviews for $10 or something like that. And so, and like, I would imagine that's going to get me new readers too, right? Now that I have a couple books out, people can go back. And not to say like the $10 wasn't worth it. I just chose not to do it because I had another way of doing it. But now I'm definitely like, I'd rather be, instead of like hunting down everyone I can find on Instagram and scrolling through TikTok like crazy and like all this stuff, like instead of doing that, I would rather be allocating that time to actually making graphics to put them out on my page, right?
Well, and so there's so many like, I keep getting messaged by these people. I don't know how you're not getting their messages. People who just kind of like spot that you're an author because they trawl the tags that and
the like promote with me sort of things.
No, like people, like it'll be like 1 or 2 people who have an account on Instagram and they'll run their business through it where they make promotional graphics for you.
Oh yeah, I've seen that too.
And you know, it's like $20 for whatever. Like I've not seen it cost very much so far, but I also, you know, just kind of do it myself.
Yeah,
because I can't relinquish that kind of creative control to anyone. But that is a me thing.
I wouldn't consider it at this point, right? Like, if it's, I wouldn't consider it at this point because, like, yeah, I don't love my graphics. I think it's really cool that we have social media, right? And like, yeah, I mean, even today, I interacted with somebody I never would have interacted with without it, right? So it's an amazing, like, technically free, like, platform that we can create, right?
Yeah.
If I'm paying someone to make my graphics to post on my Instagram, like, they might look better, they might be more catchy, but like, ultimately my platform is what it is, right? And so, like, unless I'm paying for like a boost or something like that, but even that, like, I don't know. I just, at this point, not to say that it wouldn't be worth it, and anyone else who is like thinking in this direction, I haven't done enough research to say this isn't worth it. But like, this is like the logic, like, game that my brain plays, right?
Well, no, I do think there's like a kernel of truth in that, like, or wisdom.
Well, and like, maybe, if I'm spending like, you know, $200 or like $20, whatever it is, I think there's other ways for me to make that, to find a more tried and true, like, promotion. Like, I had a really great experience with Book Spry and promoting with them, and like, I've done a couple other newsletter promotions that you pay for, and like, I've had great response, right? So if I'm spending that money, I would rather spend it in that direction and reach a different group of people than my social media already reaches.
Okay. There's like, it's something that I see in Alessandra Torres' Inkers. Yeah. She's really great as a resource. She writes her own books, but she also provides a lot of resources for authors who are, you know, starting to get into this. And she really has a huge community of people who are all dipping into the water at the same time as you and kind of also getting on their own journeys. And so you have a whole group of people who you can kind of ask a question into the void, and the void will answer you. No, don't run ads on Etsy or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point, is like, reach out to your community.
Yeah.
Find your resources.
That's the kind of answer that you're looking for, that's either going to be buried in a book that's kind of like, you would have to have read it to get that answer, or you have to kind of get what the word on the street is, so to speak.
Yeah.
And just get other people's experiences with it. There's actually, Facebook started doing this thing where, like, groups, if you're in like a group with people, it adds you to like just a general chat room as well.
Yeah.
Like in the messenger function.
That happened.
And I'm not a huge fan
I
of
was
it.
so confused what was happening. I mean, it worked out for me because I ended up in like an advent calendar thing, but I wouldn't have seen otherwise. But like, I was like, why am I getting all these messages? Like, it worked out, but it was very weird.
Well, so I'm in all these author groups, and so now I have like 6 author group. They're all like different. One's like a historical, one's like a contemporary, one's like about paranormal specifically. And so it's so interesting to like, I barely ever say anything in any of these chats but I do kind of lurk a little and read whenever someone has a question and if someone else has answered it. Of course, though, it scrolls like a chat, so like, good luck finding something if you need it.
Yeah, no, I definitely had to run backwards in one of them, and I was like, okay, scrolling forever, here's my reply to such and such, click that, and just kept on working my way up, and that was its own task. Like, that was definitely like, this is 10 minutes. Like, but I found it, and everything was fine.
So, I want to say, people expect indie authors to put out 3 books a year. That's your plan for this year, right? Was that 3 books? Did I count it
No,
wrong?
You're totally right. And at this point, I have the short story newsletter swap. I have It's going to be the small town anthology piece is going to be closer to like 20,000 words.
Okay.
So yeah, two technically full-length books and 2 novellas and then the short story. Yeah.
Personally, like I've still got my day job, so I don't intend to write that many books.
Yeah.
I have kind of 2 in mind currently, but I also want to like find time to edit at least one project that is 75% done and just sitting there.
Yeah. Well, and like my concern with the load I have here is that I'm not going to accomplish everything and I'll have to kind of pick and choose. But at the same rate, like I'm about to be childless like 4 days a week. And yes, I'm
okay. The ominous pause there. I was like, hold up, what's going on?
No, I'm not like giving up my children. Like Ash is gonna go to daycare, Jude goes to school. But I'm also gonna be stepping into like working in real estate more too. But I do expect that like I'm gonna have less mental drain. So even like my 2 hours first thing in the morning that I try to do my writing at, I will have less mental drain. I'll be juggling less just by not having like, there's something really exhausting about like you're thinking on a path, you're getting it done, and then Mama, I want some milk, like just whoop, like you're done, like scratch the record, like it's all gone, right? So being able
and there's no ignoring that. You have to jump to.
Yeah. And so I'm anticipating less mental drain. I'm anticipating to be able to write more just because I will have the ability to do a single focus. Also, like, real estate can be a lot of like hurry up and wait sort of thing. So like you get your work done and then, you drive to do a showing and you're just waiting in front of the house and like 5 minutes of writing there. You know what I mean? Like you're at the office, you've already made all your phone calls, and I have a door that closes. I can write it at my office. So I am anticipating literally just having more time to do both jobs and less interruption of my brain. So.
Yeah. Don't have more time in the same way that you do, but I'm definitely kind of, at least mentally, kind of saying not taking on any new commissions art-wise.
Okay.
Like that's what I'm telling myself, and I know it's not going to happen. I am going to say yes to somebody.
Well, I'm just sitting here like,
just like
should I be talking to someone else for you?
Oh no, no. I mean like in a
no new customers sort of thing.
No new customers, no new that kind of commitments.
Okay.
Like if you need a cover, you usually give me plenty of time.
Okay.
So I'm like, and we work at it at a reasonable pace. I feel like when we work on it together, because we do that where I kind of show you what I'm doing as I'm doing it.
Love. Like I love
that's so interesting.
It.
Like I've never done that for anybody before, but it was like kind of like, oh well, it would be fun to do this, and then it really worked.
I would imagine, because then like when it's almost like if I am like drafting and I'm spending a lot of time writing this scene and I get done with this scene and then I get done with the book and I realize that scene needs to be cut, right? I would imagine it's almost like that, where like you work in the direction you're going and then like you show it to me and I'm like, oh no, that's not the direction I want it to go. Where if I'm watching you do it in real time, then I can be like, oh yeah, no, I would change this. Right? So it's almost like a more effective use of your time because I'm able to edit in the moment.
Yeah. But also like not in a backseat driver kind of way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, like the amount, like Just Fake Married's cover is so awesome because I was like, hey, just take the wheel. Like, the story.
I mean,
you know the genre. Just go, friend. And like, I mean, that cover is just gorgeous and I love it so much. So
I'm glad that you do.
I do. And people comment on it all the time. I'm just very aware of like, I'm going to have you be the expert where you're an expert and I'm just going to chill. Does that make sense?
Yeah. train of thought somewhere. Yeah, no, what was going on last year is I had a lot of commitments and I was having a lot of trouble saying no to people. Yeah. And, you know, I don't anticipate that that's who I am.
Yeah, it's hard. And, like, that's one of the reasons why, like, I like to have the 12-month plan and then narrow it down to a 3-month plan.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a really nice part of freelance. Yeah. But, like, I think if I had been more committed to doing freelance, it would have been nice. And you hadn't
just started your new job, too, because I feel like that kind of all happened at the same time.
Because that's kind of like, I did freelance as a way to build up my portfolio and, like, really kind of in the meantime while I was looking for a consistent job. Because freelance, as much as I love it and the freedom it provides and the just how different every project you work on is, it's inconsistent at best, you know?
You have to know, like, what your expenses are, what needs to be sitting in the bank, and and keep the wheel turning. It was a stressful, like, inconsistent, like, income.
It's stressful because I don't think I've ever worked at such a rate where the amount I made one month would be guaranteed the next month.
I mean, all of that would get better. And, like, that's one of the things about, like, if I were in your shoes, like, I would essentially have a calendar people can fill in slots well into the future. Right? So I would be telling your past clients, like, hey, I'm putting up the next, 6 months worth of calendar. If you want a slot, you should schedule it now, sort of thing, right? And then opening it up to the public after that.
But that's also, you're at that point, you are fully committed in the freelance thing.
Yes.
But,
like, even, like, at the rate you want to do it, like, I would just set yourself, like, if you only want to do one commission a month or whatever, like, I would just tell people they have to schedule in advance. That's, like, how I would handle it.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that I am able to set aside time to do this. And also it is not only a time commitment in your situation, because, like, real estate's a time commitment. Like, yes, it's mental, but, like, it's not nearly as mental as, like, creating art to me. Like, I have to know, laws and know that I'm, like, not doing anything wrong there. But,
I mean, to me, there's a lot of, like, real estate that's, like, you do have to know, but I feel like that learning process is kind of,
it's at
a
the
lot
beginning.
Of before.
Yeah, exactly.
At the beginning, and then it kind of becomes more natural to you as you get deeper into it.
And you have to, do your continued education and, like, stuff like that. But, like, all of it is less mentally draining than, like, writing is, right? Like, it is less mentally taxing. Also, it's social, and a lot of times that fills my energy up, right? So, like, while I'm thinking, I'm also, like, interacting with human beings. And so, like, I get done with my day and I have a lot of fucking energy just because I've talked to people, right? So, like,
yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good fit for me. I'm really excited to get back to work. So, I have missed it.
Oh man, I gotta start watching that show that Rebecca showed me.
Oh my gosh, with that woman in the red outfit.
Yeah, Selling Sunset.
God, that's
because
so
I'm watching the show. I'm like, I can't believe that Marty does this.
I'm going to watch it. I need to know what you're talking about.
I imagine it's very different.
I would imagine it's very different.
Michigan.
Yeah, we have even, like, I'm in mid-Michigan. I'm not, like, on any of a coast, right? And so, like, yeah, it got, like, aggressive here for a couple years, and that was exhausting. So, like, one time I was filling out a contract for an offer, and Andrew was like, how's it going? I'm like, oh, they're not going to get it. They're only coming in 10,000 over, right? And yeah, they were nowhere near the top at all. But, like, in our market 5 years ago, coming 10,000 over would have been like, this person's insane. You know what I mean? Like it was just a really crazy time for a minute there. And I'm really glad to see the market even out. Listener, I'm sorry you're here for this. Anyway, so yeah, I'm sure that like Selling Sunset's very different than, you know, My Little Corner of Michigan. But okay, so
see that there's the name of a TV show.
My Little Corner of Michigan. So Kate, you're planning on writing 2 books? Publishing 2 books?
Well, so now I'm writing it down. I'm realizing I've actually got 4 things planned. Okay. 2 books and 2 short stories.
Okay.
And I say that like my books aren't already pretty short.
I know, mine too, because like, yeah, I have my Second Chance romance and Just Fake Married sequel, but I mean, both of those are going to be between 55 and 60,000 words, right? And then everything else is going to be like somewhere around, like I have one thing that's going to be like 35,000 words, and the other things are closer to like 10 to 15,000 words, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot when I'm like, yeah, I have all these things, but really they're all short. Now, gathered, they all come to like 160,000 words together. But like some people, that's a whole book, right?
Yeah, no, that's the thing that like, to me, the one thing I wish that I'm envious of traditional publishing right now is like trad authors will, you know, their books, they're not working at quite the same breakneck pace. No. You know? No, I don't want to say that they're not. Well, but like, I don't think the industry demands quite that.
Well, but they also don't make the same working income, in different typically, ways. Right? Like most traditional published authors aren't really considering it as like their sole source of income, right? True. And like, not to say that you are, but you know, part of indie publishing is putting out a couple things just to have your name repeated and have some people like notice you. Another thing about the difference with traditionally published, yeah, they don't go at the same rate. I had another thought. What was it? Here you were saying you want to photocopy my brain, and it's totally letting us down right now.
I mean, I'll take a photocopy of your brain just to frame it.
Just to frame it. That's just so weird. I don't know what that is.
Just like one slice at a time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, have you ever read The Girl with All the Gifts?
No, what is that?
Okay. It's so good. It is science fiction horror. It's been made into a film, which I haven't seen. Okay. There's this little girl, and it's written from her perspective. She's probably, I think she's like 10-ish, 11-ish, and maybe younger. She might be like 8 or 9. Anyway, it's been a while since I read it. And it's written from her perspective. She spends most of her day in like a white room, and then every once in a while, like, she'll get like brought into another room where there's all these classmates, and they're all, you know, kids around the same age, and like the teacher is, and like all the like people around her, the adults around her, are like covered in like this dust, right? She loves her teacher. Like, as the story progresses, we come to find out, like, these are zombie children. Ooh. Kate, it is so good. It is so good. So, then there's a prequel that was written, but it really is meant to be read, like, The Girl with All the Gifts, and then the prequel, which is The Boy on the Bridge. Okay. And it's just so cool. So cool. I went down, like, a rabbit hole of only reading this author for a while because I read that book. Just the thoughtfulness, like, the story construction. There were parts that were, like, incredibly, like, heartwarming, and, like, there were parts that were, like, my throat was in my, like, my heart was in my throat, and, like, I was just totally consumed by this story. I really suggest it. It was so fun. But you talking about slicing brains made me think of it. So. Okay. Because they're, like, in, like, a army base that is also, like, studying these children. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. What would we be without our little dystopia?
I know. Well, they end up taking it on the road, and it's very interesting. So. Oh. It's very interesting. The army base is actually, like, a pretty short part of the story. Oh, okay, but we were talking about the speed of traditional publishing being different.
I think that is its own conversation for, like, another episode. Yeah. But...
So you're planning on doing, like, 2 books and a couple of short stories.
Yeah, I think that, because I think I managed that last year, adding on the short stories is feasible. I think it requires me to work a little more consistently than I did last year, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely, like, my brain is a bit checked out right now, just being this time of year. And I'm just kind of really embracing, like, hey, you need to fill the well. Like, read your books, watch your movies, stuff like that. And then I'll get back into it. Also, this time of year, I get so tired because the winter really takes it out of me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but, like, I have a goal in January in the first, like, 2 weeks. I'm really planning on writing, like, 40,000 words. Or, no, 20,000 words in January. Like, that's kind of my plan.
Well, I would like to do at least 10,000 words a month. I think that sounds like a decent pace.
Yeah, it does.
And more than doable.
Yeah. And that puts you at, like, 100. Well, and, like, would you like to do 10,000 words a month and then take breaks to edit?
Maybe. I think 10,000 words a month is, like, more than enough time, I think, like, when I really think about it. But it's also, brain keeps stopping me in, like, the middle of a thought.
Well, and then we were talking about marketing, too, and we never really finished that conversation either.
I know. And here I am sitting down like, wow, I'm so glad I have more of a brain cell tonight than I did the other night when we did this. And now I'm like, actually, no, not doing much better. Not by a lot.
I think you're doing great.
What do you call it? Because, you know, I was telling you this thing. This is like what I'm hanging my entire, you know, plan on, is that, that 1 week that I went, on a work trip, and I really used all the little spare moments I had to myself to write, and then I got like 8,000 words down, and I was like, holy shit, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't write a single thing during Nano, and then right after Nano, I had all these words in like a week, and I was like, oh, okay, so if I wrote a little more, now I have 10,000, and these stories are only 30,000 each, so all I have to do is do that 2 more times, and it's done.
Do you think that you work best in, because I was just listening to a podcast today where she was saying that she's better at, like, front loading. Like, she doesn't have, like, consistency to do a little bit each day. She works better when she just, like, takes advantage of having the energy and just putting as much down as she possibly can in one, like, sitting sort of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I fluctuate a lot.
Yeah.
I have had, I definitely had a period where I didn't have a job, which was, like, probably the biggest factor, where I was writing 800 words every day and, you know, really making some great pace on these other stories that I had. And, during the pandemic, I wrote pretty consistently.
Yeah, I wrote... And
not to say that it's over.
Yeah, no.
But, like, at this stage of it,
no one's giving me any
writing
time off.
Yeah, and it's even last year, I feel like I didn't get all that much actual writing done.
Yeah, but you had so much going on, right? Because you just started your job at the end of 2021, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I do think there's room for, like, a little bit of 2022 to, like, have adjustment period into just having your job. And then, you got COVID. And then you got, like, family stuff on top of that. Like, you had an eventful year.
It was. Yeah. I would like a quiet year next year.
That would be so nice. I am really looking forward to having focus for next year. The way I'm kind of rotating, like, my phases is, like, I'm going to finish Never Has She Ever in January. And then I'm going to write the newsletter swap thing. And then I'm going to start editing Never Has She Ever to the point where it can go to the editor. And then I'm going to do the newsletter swap edit. And then I'm going to start writing the next thing, right? So, like, I'm trying to, like, let my brain sit in one function for a little while, but not as long as I did in editing like this year because it was too much editing, and it was almost like 6 months worth of editing, and then I didn't get to start writing again for a long time. And that was kind of really mentally draining. So I'm trying to kind of block it a bit, like 2 months writing, 2 months editing. It won't be a perfect thing, but that's kind of the way, like, give my brain some time to not have to, like, switch back and forth a bunch, but also to not be stuck in one mode for so long.
I get you. Yeah. That sounds like a good plan.
And then advertising, I just kind of think that's something that's just an all year thing, right? Like, I might not be as effective at it as some other people, but I'm going to do it all of the time.
I feel like there's a lot of little things in advertising that it really is a consistent, slow process to build a strong newsletter with a lot of people who open it and, like, not just subscribe to it, who open it.
Well, and then, like, actually click and actually, like, reply and actually interact with it.
Yeah. Or social media base, or whatever you're doing to wherever you're building your community out there. Yeah.
But when I think about, like, where my time is best spent in advertising, it is in my newsletter. Like, I get the most interaction. I get, like, after every newsletter I send out, I get a boost in reads or sales. Like, things happen.
And I wish I could do the same. You do your newsletter so consistently.
I really enjoy it, and, like, that's really the thing that I think makes a difference, is, like, I actually have fun with it.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't like writing or reading or sending or receiving emails in any capacity.
I have started... because you've talked about this with me before, where, like, emails are just, like, not your bag. But I think you greatly make up for that by being so cute on Instagram and, like, being so cute in, like, your other social media, right? I think I definitely to put. I think you would do well in, like, with a Facebook group. Like, I think that
I have a Facebook group.
Yeah, I think that, like,
it's kind of there.
Well, but I think that would be, because it's hard to, like, make engagement. But I think if you were to, like, be your ridiculous self, I think, like, you
on
would,
Facebook,
in your group. I think so. I think that, like, that would be, like, a really fun way to connect with people. But, like, also, I think you do a great job with your social media, right? Like, you make great graphics that are, like, really funny and cute, and you're very, like, you do such a good job of, like, being entertaining in a bite-sized portion. I feel like that is such a hard thing to do, to, like, create.
It's the ADHD, baby.
Is it? Get yourself some ADHD, girl.
No, it's just my thoughts don't last longer than 5 seconds, so that's where the bite-sizedness.
If they entertain me, guaranteed they're entertaining, sort of thing.
Yes, that's it. That's the secret. All my jokes are for myself and no one else.
I love that. Okay, do you want to give a piece of writing advice?
Yeah, make yourself laugh. No one else is reading it.
I love that.
No, that's so mean.
No, but I think that's great advice.
See, okay, but here's the thing. I wrote a joke in a chapter, and it's been in the chapter through the last 2-3 iterations, and every time I've read it to our little critique group, you guys laugh of it, but then you're like, we're laughing because we know you hate this joke.
I knew exactly what joke you were talking about.
And I don't... And now I don't know what to do with myself, because it's like, I hate the joke, but it has to stay in because I got nothing better, but I also...
Well, I think the joke itself doesn't read like a punchline necessarily, as much as, like, it kind of just feels a bit like world building.
It's there for flavor, but it's also like,
so, like,
what's that doing there?
I don't think it needs to be removed.
No,
okay. I don't think it needs to be removed. It's, like, not, like, so obvious. Okay, if it was like, this is not gonna sound like a compliment.
Dumb and obvious.
This is not gonna sound like a compliment. But if you were writing, if you were writing it like set up and then that was the punchline, like you should remove that. Right?
If it was the punchline, it's not good enough.
It's not. But
it can stay in the background
as flavor, as like a little like sort of moment. Like it's great. It's perfect for that. It achieves what it needs to achieve. Now, yeah, it totally makes us giggle now because every time you read it, you're like, oh, like you can hear that it physically hurts you.
Yeah.
And I love that. So,
well, for a series of books that I started because I wanted to make you guys laugh.
Oh, that's hilarious.
The part where you're laughing at my pain is certainly a development.
You need better friends.
Maybe.
My piece of writing advice is to like actually assess your goals, but also like have forgiveness for yourself. Because if you're anything like me, your goals are a lot loftier than time allows. And
also like, no, just kind of like going off what you said was, I feel like it's something we touch on in a lot in episodes, but we never really dive into. Mm-hmm. The idea that you really need to understand, like, without any of the sparkle or daydreamingness about it, what your goals look like and what you want what it's going to take to get there, and how much of yourself you're going to sacrifice to get there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Because, like, the thing is, like, I could make all of these goals happen. I will end the year, if time opens up the way I think it will, if my mental state opens up the way I think it will, then I can do this and not be completely drained. But if things stay the way they are and I were to force myself to make these goals, I would ruin my brain. I would just completely drain myself, and it would be like an entire year before I could write again. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I'm going to pay attention more so to what my brain needs, what my energy is, than achieving these things on the list. I'm going to do my best to make the anthology commitments because I just don't like disappointing anyone. But at the same rate, like, Never Has She Ever has to come out, and I really do want the sequel to Just Fake Mary to come out too. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, yeah. My other piece of advice, because I thought of something else, yeah, that's right, is, like, really prioritize, like, where you need to spend your energy. Yes, I'm going to do a couple of, like, promotion things every week, and then when it comes to release, I'm going to do quite a bit more at those release dates. But I'm really mindful that, like, what I actually do is right. And so that's where I'm going to put my energy.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's, if you don't, oh, brain. God. I'm just going to cut all my half-started sentences out because I ain't finishing them.
It's really easy to hear everyone talking about, you know, you have to do TikTok. If you want to be seen, you have to be posting this many times a day. And, like, all of that. And I'm sure that's great advice. But if I did that, there's no energy left for writing. And
yeah, and I think when you push yourself that hard on something, that really sucks all the joy out of it.
Well, and, like, some people can do it.
And some people can, like, work with that as a condition.
Really appreciate exactly. Whether there's longevity,
but you don't have to
questions
be.
Me. Like, questions me. I question. But, like, also something I'm really glad about with what we're talking about here is a lot of times when people talk about, like, their word counts, they're talking just, you know, insane word counts, right? Like, they average 5,000 words a day. And I feel like those people are a lot louder than the people in, like, my situation where we're talking 3,000 words a week is like a goal, right? And so I'm really glad that we're having this conversation. Listener, if you feel seen in this, you're not alone. You're doing great.
You should review us.
You should review us, exactly.
You should leave a review on our podcast.
Spread the love back.
Yeah. We're validating you, so.
I mean, so don't you kind of owe us? We're like a crappy guy that took you on a date and paid for dinner, and now he wants more.
And now you're not even gonna like write us a review.
You're not even going to put out
dinner, and you're not gonna put out.
I just bought you dinner. No, listener, if you feel seen, like, you're cool. Also, listener, if you are someone who writes 5,000 words a day, get those words down, kid. That's awesome. Good for you. I hope you love it.
Like, that is so cool.
That is super cool.
Like,
it's just not me.
I think there's also just a phenomenon of when you're following a bunch of other people in a community online, and you see a bunch of people all posting really great news, it feels like if you just kind of took one person's accomplishments over the year, it wouldn't feel like so much. But you're getting everyone's accomplishments all the time because everyone wants to tell you about the good news.
And that's awesome.
And I think
you
that
should
can really make it feel, we should. But I think you can also fall into a trap of thinking everyone is constantly moving ahead of me. Yeah. And that's not how it is. You're not at such a drastically lower pace than everyone else. You're probably moving at a reasonable pace, and it just feels like everyone's rushing ahead of you because you're getting all of those notifications at once.
Well, and also, like, shame isn't serving you. I think it's a really rare person that shame is serving you. So if you're feeling shame around, like, your writing, you're feeling shame around, like, how many word counts you're getting, like, I really encourage you just to let that go as best as you can, because, like, it's not helping you get words on the page. It's not helping you feel excited to sit down and get writing. Like, you don't deserve it. You're doing great. I know you're doing your best.
There's also just, like, a level of, if you are obsessing about your word count, it's because you don't feel great about it. But I feel like when you do feel good about your word count, it's because you're not looking at it a lot, and definitely you feel good about the process you're making, just kind of ballpark.
Yeah, my point of reference, because we're talking about word count here, but like I rarely look at how many words I write in a day, so I like spend how much time I'm going to spend on it, and like my point of reference of whether or not I have been effective with it is like, is the story moving? Right? Have I finished a scene or two this week? And if the answer is no, then I haven't been sitting down to get the work done. And I need to have more focus. If the answer is yes, then I'm on track. I just gotta get to the next scene now. So, yeah.
Going by scene, I think, is something that mentally...
it saves me. If I'm looking at word count, then I'm not thinking about what words I'm using. I'm just, like, obsessed about writing as fast as I possibly can. And then that takes the joy out of it for me.
Yeah, I know that if I focus too much on word count, I start getting obsessed with stuff that doesn't matter. Like, all the chapter lengths need to match up with each other. No, they don't. They need to be naturally within their own, like, rhythm.
Yeah.
You know, chapter ends when it feels right to end, not when I've hit a certain number of words.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And, you know, I will absolutely sit here and be like, where can I fit 500 more words?
Oh my gosh, that's exhausting. As opposed to just moving on to the next scene.
As opposed to just moving on. Yeah. So I'll be like, the chapter before this was 2,000 words and this is only 1,000. What am I gonna do? Like, move on, bitch.
That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna get on the road. Keep going.
Yeah, and then, like, I'll sit there and be like, well, if only I could get 500 more words, and then I'll be stuck on it for a month.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they don't belong there.
Yeah. Well, and, like, when I am picking up the pace, because, like, in January, I'm planning on picking up the pace and writing quite a bit. So, like, what I tell myself at that moment is, like, it's just words. Just write it down. There's no pressure. Like, you're going to change them all anyway. Just write them. Right? And so, like, that, like, meh, like, mentality really helps me to actually write. Because, like, then I'm not, like, thinking about how precious each scene is and, like, really dissecting like what the scene has to accomplish. I'm just writing to get to the next scene, and like a lot of really fun things will happen there.
Yeah. Okay, I know I said we need to wrap it up, like, and then I kept talking.
Well, we both did. It's because we're entertaining. We both kind of got lost in the weeds a bit in this episode, and so it's kind of nice that we actually have some conversation at the end here.
Yeah.
So, but
God knows how much I'm gonna cut out.
Kate can be found at TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, at by Kate Pryder.
Yes. And I want to include Mastodon.
Right.
Romancelandia.club.
Which I still have to join.
Because you saw that the Twitter guy banned talking about Mastodon. So.
Oh, did he? Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get signed up like tonight. It's a
violation of the terms and services now.
Bless
you can get your whole count banned.
Oh, man. I've got nothing nice to say about that guy.
Yeah. I know, it's ridiculous. I keep being like, I don't want to talk about Twitter on here, but like,
yeah. Okay, so I'll literally sign up for Mastodon tonight.
Ooh, okay. It's a little tricky, but I'm sure you'll finagle it.
Yeah, I'll sign up. If it doesn't look like something I can be a part of, then I'll just continue with Instagram and TikTok. And I'll just have 2 in my newsletter. Like, that is plenty. So, yeah. And I guess I do have, like, I also have Facebook. Oh, yeah, you could join my reader group at V is for Romance. That's VEE is for Romance Readers. On Facebook. You could do that if you wanted, while you're also leaving a review for our podcast, because we bought you dinner. And I am Marty V on TikTok and Instagram at Marty V Author.
All right.
Ready now? I think we're ready.
Listener.
I hope you have a good time.
I hope
planning,
you
listener.
make a good plan and think about goals, or just become aware of what your writing process looks like. Reflect on what you did last year and figure out what looks reasonable for this year.
Yeah. I love that. I love that for you, listener.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bye!